Welcome to the webinar. My name's Stephen Turner. I'm the Program Director for the Leave Doctoral Training Program, which is Sustainable Transitions at the University of Essex. I'm joined by...
Hello, thank you, Stephen. I'm Zorzeta Bakaki, and I am a senior lecturer in the Department of Government and also a management team member of Sustainable Transitions.
So, as I say, welcome to this webinar. What this webinar is about is just to give an explanation of the Masters Plus PhD scholarship program at the university, to give details about it and to provide the opportunity at the end of our short-ish presentation for you to ask questions if you have any questions. So I think what we will do is I'm going to share my screen now and we'll get the slideshow going and we'll run through the slides that we have prepared. So if you just bear with me, I'm just going to share my screen and get the slides up. So you should be able to see that. So we're going to run through these slides. If you have any questions at the end of the webinar, what you can do is put your questions either into the chat or the Q&A, and we'll probably wait until we get to the end of the webinar, and then we'll go through any questions that you have in there. So we'll start off by giving an overview. So in the first slide here, we will be talking in general about the Sustainable Transitions Programme, and specifically with this webinar, we'll be talking about the Masters Plus option. So we'll be going through the specific details related to that. So there are specific eligibility requirements related to the Masters Plus scholarships, and also there are specific supervisory arrangements related to that. We'll be talking about the university itself, explaining some of the characteristics of the university and the areas that it specialises in. We'll be talking about what these scholarships specifically offer, what the funding arrangements are, and what the scholarships cover. We'll be giving some advice relating to how to draft a proposal, and what that entails, what the expectations are there. We'll be talking about the application process, the timeline for the different stages of the process, and when you would be able to find out whether or not you were successful. And also we'll give some details about getting in touch with us, getting in touch with the project supervisors and also the program administrator. And then, as I say, if there are any questions that you have at the end, you can put those in the chat and we'll run through those and try and cover that as best as we can. So starting off with the next slide, we'll move to the introduction to the Masters Plus PhD program. And clearly, one of the key features of this is that it's a fully funded scholarship for a master's degree, which then prepares the student to go on to do a PhD. And the idea is that the master's degree component of that is preparatory for the students, in the sense that the master's degree is linked to the area of study that you would go on to research for the PhD. And so it has a dual purpose: one, to provide that training, that academic training in that area of interest, but also it provides a year within which you can then develop and refine your proposal alongside with supervision from your supervisors, and develop yourself so that you're in a good position to undertake the PhD at the end of that year. It is a requirement that the students with the scholarship get a merit in their masters. So there's a requirement to achieve that before going on, or to be able to go on to the PhD part of it. Part of the program itself, as you know, is that all of the PhDs are interdisciplinary in nature. So all of the students have two supervisors from two different departments, or at least two from two different departments or schools. And there are, in this current round of recruitment for this particular component of the scholarship program, there are 6 schools and departments that are involved. And there is this the reason for this is to have this interdisciplinary component to all of the PhDs. There is world-renowned expertise in a variety of different disciplines at the university, and the university draws on that expertise to provide the basis for this scholarship program. The overall objective of sustainable transitions is to train the next generation of scholars in interdisciplinary research related to sustainability or protection of the environment. And increasingly, there's awareness both in the UK and internationally that there is a need for scholars in the future to have this interdisciplinary expertise, because protection of the environment and sustainability often requires that type of expertise to solve some of the very difficult and challenging problems that both the country and globally are faced. So we'll move on to the next slide. So the master's degree, as we say, provides a foundation for the PhD. And in terms of the discipline that students come from, the expectation is that the main discipline that a student comes from will be the foundation for the PhD degree that they take. And the meaning of that, what I mean by that is that where you have two different disciplines for all of the PhDs under the Sustainable Transitions program, one is a primary discipline and one is a secondary discipline. So it's normal that that the PhD will be comprised of 70% roughly of a primary discipline and 30% of a secondary discipline. The idea being that the student will come from that primary discipline, so they will carry on and specialize in that primary discipline, and then they will integrate 30% of their PhD, which comes from a discipline which they may not be familiar with. So they'll learn and train in that secondary discipline. So that secondary discipline gets synthesized into the PhD. And clearly there can be pedagogic constraints related to that. And what I mean by that is that sometimes there are limitations to how much a PhD student can take on board other disciplinary other disciplines or other disciplinary uh, areas of expertise. And so that's what's meant by pedagogic constraints there, because we manage very carefully the level to which you can synthesize other disciplines into your existing discipline. So you would be based administratively within the department or school of the primary discipline. So that's your home discipline. In terms of the supervisory arrangements, normally you will have 2 supervisors. Sometimes we add in additional supervisors to provide additional expertise, but you will have 2 supervisors primarily from 2 different departments. And the relationship between the primary and the secondary disciplines is that your supervisors will be working closely together in your supervision. So they will both be present in meetings with you. And that helps to integrate both disciplines into your PhD study. What we encourage is that, and the expectation is that from the outset of your PhD, you start to learn that secondary discipline. So, for example, if you come from, you have, for example, an undergraduate degree in, let's say, sociology, and your secondary discipline is life sciences, we would expect that early on in your PhD, you start to study aspects of life sciences that are relevant to your PhD so that you develop your knowledge and your understanding, your expertise, so that you can integrate those other elements into your research project. Um, and the type of interdisciplinary development that you will be achieving is not only knowledge, but also your methodological skills and your communication skills in that other discipline. So all subject areas have their own language, and so you'll be learning the language of that other discipline, and that those become part of the skills that distinguish sustainable transition scholars, because they have a set of skills that are advanced in terms of their ability to communicate across disciplines. I'll hand over to Zeta now, who's going to talk through uh, the details that we have about the university itself.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. So for the rest of the presentation, I'll talk a bit about the University of Essex itself, and then I will move into the application process and how to write the proposal. To start with, I will talk about Essex, and that is the institution that hosts the Leverhulme Doctoral Training Scholarship on Sustainable Transitions. And as with sustainable transitions, all programs at the University of Essex are research-led, meaning that the University of Essex is very much research-oriented, and this is why we put a lot of emphasis on this program as means of training into following your master's degree and a PhD degree. The University of Essex is ranked 17th globally for international outlook, according to the higher education of 20 times higher education of 2025. And international outlook refers to international staff, international students, and research collaborations. The university is also in the top 100 globally for impact rankings for 9 UN sustainable goals. So this is where our sustainable transitions program and all the projects involved into this program are relevant also directly for impact and policy. At the same time, the Essex University is 12th in Guardian University Guide, according to the rankings of 2025, but also 25th for research and impact in the UK, with some departments within the university being in the top 3, also among those involved in the program of sustainable transitions. We are the university, and as we are hosts of the Center for Environment and Society, that is an institution within the university, is a center within the university that promotes research collaboration around the environment, brings together a variety of scholars across disciplines who work on the environment, and our applicants and then successful applicants will benefit from such seminars, presentations, talks, as well as collaborations with the Center for Environment and Society. In terms of finance, and in addition to what I'll talk later about the scholarship asset, the university gives to our students up to 2,500 for additional training and conferences. This is a proficio funding that is for PhD students working at the University of Essex. I'll move to the offerings from the scholarship reserve from the Leverhulme Doctoral Training Program. And this, we couldn't, of course, not start with the training in interdisciplinary study, where Stephen already mentioned the importance of interdisciplinarity in the study of the environment, as this is a problem, is an issue, a global issue that cannot be addressed from a single discipline only. Therefore, it does demand the collaboration, the synthesis of multiple disciplines. So through this program, our students benefit from such training. And they do this with a variety of experts across all departments, world-leading expertise in areas of environmental sustainability, from the departments that are involved in the Sustainable Transitions Training Program, and not only, because we often see collaborations from additional departments as well. For this scholarship, we offer 8 different projects that are related to contemporary topics concerning sustainable transitions, and you may already had a look at these projects, but there is a combination of a variety of projects that explore sustainable transitions, that explore topics on environmental issues and their solutions. We will recruit two students who would be offered the Master plus PhD program, and they will be offered the tuition fee for all the years of their studies, throughout the years of their studies doing the Masters, but also the PhD program. And this can be basically 1 year that is the Masters and up to 4 years that is the PhD program. In addition to that, these 2 students will also be offered the living costs. So they will be offered money to support themselves, their living, during these years. A research allowance of £10,000 in total is also offered for research costs, like supplies or equipment or fieldwork, surveys, etc., or attending conferences, in addition to what I mentioned earlier about the professor money that is at £2,500 in total offered by the university. So this is an extraordinary opportunity that is not, you don't see it very often in scholarships, but this is again driven by the fact that the university does promote research. In addition, the program also benefits the student by working with an independent research impact advisor. So once the student is starting into the program, they will be allocated an individual from the business or industry or governance, always related to the project that they are working on, and this is their impact advisor. This allocation will be done in coordination with the supervisors, their contacts, or if the student has their preferences or has, of course, somebody to suggest. So it is in coordination with a supervisory team. With this, I'll move a bit to the research proposal and starting talking the details into the application processes. So, of course, one of the biggest elements of this application process is the research proposal for the Liverpool Training Doctoral Program. Here we request of a piece of your work of about 1,000 words, excluding references. The emphasis should be on the background literature, aims and objectives of your idea, and a bit of research methods and list of references. So the suggestion or the best or a strategy that I would advise to go around this is once you have selected the project that you're interested, that you're most familiar and that you would you would be keen in working for the next about 4 or if not a bit more years of your lives, then you would start looking at the literature that exists around this topic. The best way to start with the literature is to look at the publications of the supervisors of each project. These are also provided if you scroll down on the webpage of each project. So start from this and present the background literature leading to what you would like to do, complementing this existing literature. And that's where the aims and objectives of your ideas, of your interests are coming into your proposal. In terms of research methods, we expect the type of research that you would be undertaking. We don't have the expectation that you would go into details, and the reason is that part of this scholarship, the master class, is that you would be trained during the first year, and we hope that a lot will change in terms of your qualifications throughout this first year of studies. And of course, the list of references is also expected, consistent and very professional presentation of the sources that you have incorporated in your proposal. To better present this proposal, do familiarize yourselves with the guidance for applicants document, and again, make sure that you start after having read very carefully the presentation of the project that you are interested in applying. Moving into the administrative elements of the process, of the application process. Although this is a master's plus program, plus PhD program, we ask you to submit an application for a PhD using the online application system of the University of Essex. The master's degree is a requirement, but you can go straight to the final stage, let's say, of this program that is a PhD and apply for a PhD. You first therefore apply for a PhD at Essex, and then you apply for the scholarship using the Word application that is located online in the description of the proposals. And you can email this form to the email shown here of the slides, that is the sustainable ldtb@essex.ac.uk. It is very important for the university records that they see first the application to the university before you proceed to the application for the scholarship. When then you apply for the scholarship, and in this Word document, that you would be asked to indicate what is the master that you would like to do, what is the master program that you wish to do, as there is normally a list of suggestions of the various master degrees, master courses that you could take for each project. In terms of deadlines, we have a deadline for the applications that is the 13th of April. And once those who are successful to this first shortlisting will be asked to attend the interviews sometime between the 7th to the 19th of May. This first round of interviews will be with the supervisors of the project. And once the supervisors have made decisions, they will forward this to the management team of Sustainable Transitions, who will conduct interviews between the 27th and 9th of June. Therefore, the 26th of June, you would have the final outcomes. The selection outcomes will be communicated to those 2 successful applicants. Some contact informations, if you have questions that they are administrative related, please do contact the Sustainable Transitions Office. But you may also have questions whether you belong to home status or whether you are an international student. For this, it's best always to reach out to the university services, in the admissions team, and the email for this team is international@essex.ac.uk. We normally use LinkedIn as social media to keep in touch with our audiences, the people who are interested in sustainable transitions and the scholarship that we deliver from scholarship. And there you can find not only information about the progress of of these applications, but also I would recommend that you scroll down a little bit on the page and see what our current students have been working on. We often are also asked whether our applicants could reach out to supervisors, and we would also recommend to do that. It is a good way not only to show your interest in the program, but also in case you have specific questions about your field. If you have studied, if your BA is of X topic, whether your qualifications, whether your background, your interest would be a good fit for X project. So also please do reach out to supervisors as indicated, as are indicated in each web page of the projects. So this is from me, Stephen. So and with this, I believe we can take some questions if the
Okay.
attendees have any.
Yeah, thanks very much, Zeta. I'll stop sharing now and then we'll come back and so there's a number of people in the room. So I hope you found that informative. We'll just wait and see if anybody has. There's nothing in the Q&A or the chat at the moment. But maybe one of the points that I should have given more detail about related to the eligibility requirements for the eligibility requirements for the program, and this is a specific program. These particular scholarships are specifically for students that have either what's known as a low-income household background, and that would need to be evidenced by, for example, being in receipt of a full maintenance loan or special support loan during your undergraduate studies, or it can be if somebody is of certain ethnicity. So if somebody is Black African, Black Caribbean, Black other, it states mixed white and Black Caribbean, mixed white and Black African, or other mixed background, including Black African, Black Caribbean, and Black other. So either from a low-income household with evidence of that, or it can be self-declared that you are one of those within that category in terms of ethnicity. And the reason that the Lever Home Trust is providing these specific scholarships is to provide scholarships for underrepresented groups. So if you fall into any of those categories, you're open to apply for one of these scholarships. So you can see there's one. Is there one
There's
question
one
in the
question.
chat? Please, how much is the application fee? There's no application fee to apply for sustainable transitions. The two requirements are one, that you go and put in a PhD application. So that's on the online electronic application form system, and also to put in a paper scholarship application. So that's a Word document that you download and then send that in to sustainableldtp@essex.ac.uk. So those are the only requirements. And yeah, it's a very straightforward process. The PhD application form provides the opportunity for you to state on the application form the supervisors that you may have contacted. So in that section, you put in the details of the supervisors under the project that you're applying for, and then also just state in there that you're applying for a sustainable transitions scholarship, a master's plus PhD scholarship. So it makes it clear, and then that makes it easy for us to then link that up with your scholarship application. So those are the tips that I have in relation to that. So Zeta, there's another question's come up in the
Yes.
chat. Do you want to take that one?
Yes, of course. I would like, so Fernando Diaz is asking, they would like to know if as an overseas, not UK domiciled student can apply for the Master Class PhD joint program, already hold an unconditional offer for the LLM in Law, Environment and Sustainability, and I wonder if I can apply for the scholarship. So this scholarship is one of the eligibility criteria is to be UK domicile. So you need to be a UK national or have a passport, if I may simplify what this means. So in this case, there is an eligibility problem, I'm afraid.
Yeah, sorry, my phone is ringing in the background, but I'll just move on to Zeta. Do you want to take the next one too,
Yeah,
please?
of course. So there's another question from Hasini, and they asked, do we need to submit a research proposal for Master Plus PhD opportunity? Also, yes, you need to submit a proposal of 1,000 words as explained in the presentation earlier. You will have a chance to look back at this webinar presentation if you need to, because we have been recording this session and we will be sharing it at the webpage of Sustainable Transitions. But yes, there is a proposal. Shall I go through the
Um,
next?
yeah, I can just elaborate on that last
Yes,
one
please do.
from Hassini. What I'd suggest you do is um, on the website, as you go down the details of each project, you'll find that there's a link there to the guidance for applicants document. So if you click on that, you'll find the guidance to applicants, and that gives in very precise detail what the expectations are for you to apply. So just go through that, and it gives you advice on how to do it, and that's probably the best guidance. And maybe just skipping back again, what Zeta said was 100% right in relation to Fernando's query. But just to say, if you're unsure about your own status, then contact international at essex.ac.uk, and they're the experts within the university that can advise people on the issues of whether they're home fees or international status, because some people that it's not clear. So if you fall into that category, then you can inquire with them and they can advise. So Zeta, I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, of course. I'll read the next message from George Amos. They're currently interested in applying for the Master of Science Management course, but they have a stronger background in law as their first degree. And does this affect the alignment with the course, or there is a way to merge both disciplines? And also for the Master of Science in Corporate Sustainability, to what extent will energy finance principle be covered, and will there be considerations of international standards? I would suggest with this, George, that you would look to the project proposals per se before starting looking at the master programs, because each project is linked to specific masters. So you cannot deviate. They give some options. So some of them will suggest, okay, here are 2 programs that you can choose one of 2, or here are 3, you can choose one of 3, but you cannot choose a master's that is not listed on the project proposal. And this is because the supervisors have looked into those master degrees and master's courses that they will offer you the best training for you to continue to the PhD program. I'm afraid I don't know the particularities of the Master in Science in Corporate Sustainability that you are asking. If this is one of the programs that are one of the courses, master courses that are suggested in the project that you are interested in, I suggest that you are contacting the supervisors to ask for questions regarding those courses.
Yes, just to elaborate on that, all of these opportunities are they're led by specific projects that you would apply for. Um, and so it's not really possible to pick a master's program that you would like to do and then find a PhD that's separate to that. You need to look at the particular PhD projects and then that becomes the route through into to the program and then on those particular projects there are specific, as Zeta said, there are specific master's degrees that would be appropriate for the person to study. So I think that's it, isn't it? So we got
This
oh, there's a question from Eric Boateng.
They're asking whether they can apply to this program and the scholarship being from Ghana. Again, Eric, this question would be probably best addressed from our international office if you email international@essex.ac.uk. The reason is that there are various particularities. My very, very general rule is if somebody is holding or is eligible to hold a British passport, they could normally be able to apply. But again, we cannot provide more specific information and details in terms of eligibility about nationality. Yep. So is there?
Yeah,
And
so
how would you answer?
yes, yeah, it's important to emphasize that these are opportunities, and this is not Essex University that makes these rules. These are the rules and the guidance that we have to follow from the Leverhulme Trust that provides this funding. And one of the terms and conditions for these specific scholarships is that they are for home applicants, so home fee, what they would say, home fee paying students, which normally means British citizens rather than citizens from other countries. But as we've mentioned, we're not qualified to advise on citizenship issues, so we're asked by the university to refer those questions specifically to the international office, who are qualified to advise relating to that and relating to visa issues as well. So it does sound unlikely if you're a Ghanaian citizen and you don't have British citizenship that you would be eligible. But as I say, we're not completely qualified on that one. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings, but please do double check that one. So I think we've come to the end of all of the questions. So if there are any other questions that anybody has, please feel free to contact me, Stephen Turner, at so it's s.j.turner@essex.ac.uk, and I'm happy to respond. And if you have specific questions in relation to any of the projects that are advertised, you can contact the supervisors. So their details are on the adverts and under the details there. And you can contact them. They won't give you specific advice on what to put in your application form, what your proposal should be, but they can give you generic advice. For example, if your academic background is appropriate for that particular project, for example, and you may want to just find out a little bit more about the project and the project area and the work that the university is doing in that field. And that kind of advice is the kind of advice that supervisors can give and happily provide. So I think on that, if there's nothing else from anybody else, just to say thank you for joining the webinar. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and please do consider applying.